So I go to work today, and bear in mind my Wi-Fi is pretty wonky where I work, so I haven't had access to things. Well, I finally get internet midway through the day, and apparently the world exploded. SeaWorld has a 200-foot roller coaster coming next year, and apparently Ring of Honor is coming to Destination America as a lead into TNA. So it makes perfect sense we're going to talk about it, and we're just going to give you guys a bonus podcast to discuss what's going to happen with Ring of Honor coming to Destination America. Ashley, of course, you know this product very well. You cover it on the whole indie show, and I want to put this in your capable hands. So have at it, good sir.
So, yeah, I think this caught quite a lot of people off guard.
Big time.
Because, I was just, browsing through Twitter and whatever, and starting to see Destination America logos with Ring of Honor talent.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, is this some sort of joke? Is this some sort of, April Fool's, except it's May the 27th? Because it didn't seem to fit. It's like, if this is news, why haven't I heard about it?
Yeah, no lie.
It's something that I thought that would get leaked on all the info and whatever. Turns out, some things can actually be kept secret.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Can't be leaked with emails, can it, Dixie?
Oh, boy.
And, Ring of Honor is bringing its current product from Sinclair Broadcasting Network show stations and all that to Destination America.
It's going to be a 1-hour showing?
Markets like Philly,
Mm-hmm.
like New York, and like Los Angeles will now be able to see Ring of Honor every week.
I have not seen a televised episode of Ring of Honor in a long, long time. They were running it at 1 or 2 in the morning on my local Fox affiliate, and that was the last time I actually got to see Ring of Honor.
When was that? I'm trying to think.
God, it was a long time ago.
Back when Sammy Davis Jr. was...
Way back before the days of the Bullet Club and everything, so yeah.
Yeah. So, the whole approach to this, by the looks of it, is just getting out to more people.
Makes sense.
And the fact that it is a lead-in to Impact, however long that may be, is a thing. The key thing to note, though, from the press release that they sort of gave out, Destination America this is, they were saying how they wanted the station to be, no pun intended, but clearly there is, your destination for wrestling.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So the line seems to hint that perhaps the cancellation may not be happening now. Because that's the thing, if Ring of Honor being on first means that the numbers for Impact actually go up now, because it's a deal it's only for 26 episodes.
Really?
Yeah, it's only half a year. But of course, that sort of is the same time period up until and slightly beyond when supposedly they've got the Destination America have got the right to pull the plug on it.
So this takes you through September.
Well, the 6 months starts from next week. That's the other big thing as well. They announced it, today, and it's like, oh, by the way, the first episode's in 7 days. It's like, what? And it's really it's really a positive thing. It means now that literally there are 4 wrestling shows happening within an hour of each other. 3 of them at the same time.
That's crazy. If you're a wrestling fan, you are having to DVR like crazy right now.
Hang on. Well, no, it might be 2 at the same time. Yeah, it might be 2 at the same time. Because you're going to have NXT.
Yep.
You're going to have Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Lucha Underground. And Impact.
Wow. That's just crazy.
Other than weekends, you've got wrestling every day.
Which is the dream of every wrestling fan, to be able to have a choice to actually watch whatever they want to watch and then go back and watch the other one if they wanted to.
To some extent, but if you think about it, you've got 3 hours of Raw, an hour of House of Hardcore if you get it on Tuesday.
I'd love to get that, actually.
5 hours of wrestling on Wednesdays, counting, the NXT, TNA, Ring of Honor, and Lucha. 2 hours of SmackDown, and then an hour of New Japan.
Oh my god.
So, literally, half of an actual day you could just spend watching that week's wrestling.
That's true.
That doesn't include pay-per-views or iPay-per-views or anything like that from New Japan. Like live streams from their shows.
And for the people that watch the WWE Network on top of that, they could pretty much get wrestling overkill.
Mm-hmm. But to be honest, it's also refreshing. This is the alternative form of the Monday Night Wars now.
Yeah.
You are getting a lot more wrestling television, a lot more wrestling on a lot more television platforms. Because I can't just say television, because obviously there are people going to find other means to watch it, because they probably already do.
Yeah, of course.
Things, but the fact is, if it's on a channel that they actually get now, then they'll obviously use that less, but then also you never know what will happen. More of these guys that nobody knew about, like Steen, like Sami Zayn, because there are those die-hard WWE fans that, unless it's on a television that they can actually watch, until they actually show up and prove themselves, it doesn't matter what they did previously.
Exactly.
So if you've got talents like, because I'm singling people out because they should be on the WWE roster soon, people like Adam Cole, or Dalton Castle, or people like that, they're now going to get a lot more chance to shine, should I say.
More exposure.
Yeah, more exposure. Admittedly, because of the way Ring of Honor likes or hates women's wrestling, they're going to be much diva stuff. Because they have a Women of Honor match like every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
At best. But, it's good to see Ring of Honor getting a step up. Of course, this will fuel all the conspiracy theories that they're going to replace Impact, which would be tough at the minute because I don't think Ring of Honor's got the resources yet.
They really don't.
They don't have the capability to really do a 2-hour show. I don't think they've got the right amount of investment in to do it either.
Mm-hmm.
They're not willing to take a punt on it. Yeah, in essence, they're sort of... And I saw an interview that Joe Koff did with Bill Apter on their YouTube page. Check it out. It's a very good, 15-20 minute interview. Coming straight from the horse's mouth, no dirt sheets or anything, which is, refreshing in all honesty.
Yeah.
and he basically says that it's us taking baby steps, and we know. And I thought this was a telling point, considering everything that we've seen from TNA in the past 5 years. We know we can't compete with WWE.
Yeah, of course.
We know we have no way of matching them. So we're just trying to provide an alternative presentation, an alternative product for people to get. And if they want to check it out, they can. It's not like it's imperative that they have to, but it does mean that, there's an opportunity there that really can't go amiss. Yeah, I've just checked Ring of Honor's own website, and I believe last weekend's episode from the 23rd, because I think they classify it as a Saturday, even though some of them air it Friday night. Like, I don't think they preempt it, but whatever. I don't know whether it's viewable to everybody yet, but like they've got the archive of every Ring of Honor episode from sort of mid 2011.
Oh, nice.
Right through to 2015. I mean, that's too many for anybody to go through in order to get track of the stories.
Yeah.
It's not like anything like Shikara or anything where stories can be like 7 years in the making. Like really in depth. Normally, it's sort of like a WWE thing. Most normally it's like a 2 to 3 month feud, possibly. But then occasionally you can rekindle that feud again, a la Steen Generico, which, who cares how many times that happened? It's Steen versus Generico.
My favorite feud is from Ring of Honor, actually.
Another one as well, the whole Age of the Fall thing with
Mr.
Jacobs. The whole actually getting somebody, letting them bleed and pouring it down over his white coat. That's pretty edgy stuff. MVP can get away with saying the M word. But I don't know whether if you put that on national television, whether they'd like Jimmy Jacobs actually getting bled on.
See, that was awesome. And to me, to be honest, Jimmy Jacobs will go down as the one Ring of Honor performer in the entire history of the company that I really wish would have got a run with the championship. But when it comes down to it, the reason why he didn't is because of what a lot of people say about Bray Wyatt. His gimmick does not need a title to be over.
Yeah, but it's always nice to have that on your Wikipedia page.
I think he's just happy he beat Danielson when he was champion in that non-title match.
Yeah, true.
Jimmy Loves Lacey is probably one of my favorite storylines of all time, easily, because I can totally identify with it.
Yeah.
You understand that message right there, and I'm not going any further into it.
I can identify with Steen versus Generica. Oh, no, wait, I can't. It's just that it was a bloody awesome feud. Best friends, tag team champions, one turned on the other because he thought he was better. Went into a year-long feud that culminated in one of the most violent and hardcore matches I've ever seen. And not violent in a tournament of death, I'm literally trying to kill you sort of way.
Yeah.
But obviously sort of, because some of the stuff they did in that, unprotected chair shots, that won't be happening in the year when they face each other again.
No, but I do think they're going to get a little leeway to get a little more extreme than anybody else is when they finally have their final blow-off match.
Oh, certainly. But I don't think they're going to risk chair shots.
Maybe one or two, just to make a point.
They'll do crazy spots. That's their way.
I'm sure.
So, and even, some of the storylines have been stupid. But then other ones, it's like, at first, Barrister R.D. Evans was a joke. It's like, why is he here? because everybody knows that he was somebody else from another company.
True.
I'm not even naming because I don't want to even, break the not break the curse, but pull the curtain down too much. If people see matches with Hardy Evans and a certain other guy, it's clear that they probably are the same person. But then again, the other company sort of did the storyline when there could be like multiple people.
Yeah.
Whatever. So then he started wrestling rather than just being a barrister manager sort of thing. And he was going on like an undefeated streak. And this guy that was getting booed all the time suddenly was getting massive cheers because he was coming out to the V for Vendetta music. 12 Overture. It was like, okay. Then of course Moose came along and sort of ruined it. But then again, Vader Scott was there, and I do like a bit of Vader. It's Vader time. And not that one. The other one.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, definitely.
There's enough there, certainly from what I've seen, in the space of an hour, which makes more sense than some of the stuff that's happened recently over the last year or so in terms of impact.
And I'll tell you right now, for the people that are tuning in that don't know anything about Ring of Honor, they're going to see names like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, Samoa Joe, and Jay Lethal, and they're going to wonder, well, as long as Joe's able to work the shows. We'll talk about that.
Awkward with the whole NXT thing.
Honestly, I think they'll make it so he can't work TV tapings.
Yeah, well, the thing is, he's advertised for the next set of TV tapings happening after the pay-per-view coming up, like June 19th. So June 20th is TV tapings.
Mm.
I'm wondering now whether that match might be changed to like a dark match sort of aspect.
I can see that.
Just for the fans in attendance. Or if they released it free on YouTube.
See, that makes sense, because that can drive the website business.
Because it's not on television and it's showcasing Ring of Honor.
It's true.
And of course, if Samoa Joe did know about this and Triple H has signed this off, because we know that Joe's on some sort of special contract, which means he can do certain indie dates.
Yeah, he can work indie shots.
Then, you'll have everybody going the conspiracy theory of, WWE's trying to kill off Impact Wrestling once and for all. Of course, the thing is, WWE doesn't need to do that. At the rate it's going, Impact is possibly doing it by itself.
It's a shame, it really is.
I don't mean to talk negative on it. I guess I do. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is, certainly with today alone, you probably haven't heard all this stuff. There was supposed to be a conference call.
Yeah, exactly.
With the major, wrestling press, with Rockstar Spud to hype up Slammiversary in a few weeks.
True.
Instead, the talent was given a special sort of private group call with Dixie and or TNA officials explaining what's going on. Mainly because even TNA didn't know. I'm at both minds on this. I think there's a possibility that they were just like all of us finding out for the first time when it was announced. But I gotta think someone knew. You'd have thought so.
But maybe not.
And again, it wouldn't be surprised if they did know but didn't want to tell, because it's sort of like, I'm trying to think. I was watching an old episode of Time Commanders on YouTube. Please don't rip it up. Please don't pull it off YouTube for copyright reasons, Google. Because it's bloody awesome. There was, I think it was like, one of the like Egyptian kings or something, not pharaohs.
Okay.
I can't remember his name. Not
King Tut?
something like that. Whatever it was like if a servant came to him and gave him bad news,
Mm-hmm.
the king would have them executed.
Yeah, of course.
What I think is it's that sort of situation. Somebody's heard the bad news, but doesn't want to say to the right people, otherwise they're getting fired. Sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of. It's funny because You said it. I didn't really get. You're correct. I didn't really get to see enough of the tweets and the messages and everything. But I did see something that MVP said. He was like, "If you want to book me, here's my details."
He gave an email address saying, "Here's how you book me."
That's worrisome.
Some of us took it better.
James Storm.
Some are basically seeing it in a positive way, saying, you know, it's more wrestling and mainstream television.
Exactly.
That's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
You know, it's not all negative. It's you got to see there's got to be a silver lining everywhere. You know, some talents that aren't even affiliated with TNA, of course, making snidey comments.
Yeah.
Which Matt Hardy didn't approve of, which is certainly fair. I would say. There's no need to be critical and keep going on about the cancellation stuff. Just let it happen when it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if they feel that Impact isn't the right product that they want, they'll probably give more money possibly to Ring of Honor, and you could perhaps not every week make it a 2-hour show, but like every 2 or 3 weeks have like a not even a live special, but just like a 2-hour special.
Okay, do you remember when ECW went on TNN originally?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you remember? Yeah, it was basically a test to see how WWE was going to do for the network.
Mm-hmm.
But right when it first started, to catch people up to date, they aired a special to basically chronicle their talent. And I think Ring of Honor needs to do that in the next couple weeks to get people that are not accustomed to the product right away to know what they're about to see.
It's an interesting. I keep saying interesting situation, but it just is.
It really is, honestly. What about cross-promotion, Ashley? Do you think we see any possible cross-promotion?
That's the interesting issue as well, because you have to go through the dirt sheets to get some of the tidbits of info that you need.
True.
In terms of to try and get the full picture of what's going on. By the looks of it, with the deal that's in place, Destination America is having to pay less to hype up the Ring of Honor shows than they are having to for the Impact shows.
That's crazy. Oh, probably
working on paper.
Okay.
So if you take that aspect, there's a lot of stuff which certainly could be beneficial. I certainly think if the viewing figures actually improve for Impact, helped by the fact that Ring of Honor is there. I'm not saying like Ring of Honor surpasses Impact Wrestling. It would be nice to see that, and it would reflect that perhaps people are more interested in shorter programs rather than longer ones.
Potentially.
Make WWE pull their finger out their ass and make it a shorter Raw. So, please.
We'd all benefit for that, Ashley. We would.
Yeah. But it's just really that sort of case. Just there's a lot more positives to this than negatives.
Agreed. I can see that.
The right people on the internet are, of course, being their hypocritical selves and trying to say this is the death nail in the coffin. If this goes right, And as I say, there's an upturn in terms of ratings.
Yeah.
They're doing better in terms of advertising because they're following on from the Ring of Honor product. There's certainly a chance of there being certainly the chance of being more of a long-standing section. Obviously, they can't really move NXT.
Yeah.
Certainly, the opportunity to move. Trying to think, Lucha. I don't think that really has to be a set day or date, should I say?
True.
If he isn't on every show, trying to put on a ladder match or whatever. But it's don't put your chickens all in one basket.
True.
Unless they're from KFC, in which case put them in a bucket. That is, as I say, if it just goes right, then there's going to be good times here, and that's honestly the important thing.
True.
Don't look at it as the negative. Only go to the negative when it looks like all hope is lost. Some, of course, have already reached that mark.
Yeah.
But, it's something there. It's an alternative for people. Because, as you've seen yourself, Owen, some of the storylines that have happened in Impact have been sort of poorly put together and poorly arranged and just poor in all essence, aren't they, really?
Yeah.
I still don't get Crazy Steve and the whole circus menagerie thing.
Well, the menagerie's gone, and Mike Tenay mentioned that on commentary, basically, that Josh Matthews said that the menagerie has gone back to the circus life. So, Crazy Steve is still around. He's actually involved in the X Division title match on Friday.
So, there isn't a menagerie, it's just Solo Clown.
It's him and Rebel, but there's no connection to either one together anymore.
Okay. Random Manager and Scary Clown.
But this will help both companies, because if they are able to coexist, I think it would be good for both, because the TNA fans that want to see their old favorites, who they now can see in Ring of Honor, can have them back for maybe one night only or 2 nights only, and they do like super cards instead of like major pay-per-views. They could make something big out of this.
Possibly.
Ring of Honor versus TNA?
Keep in mind, of course, this would be hugely ironic if that was the case.
Yeah, because of the fact that when it comes down to it, TNA basically forbid anybody from working Ring of Honor shows.
Yeah.
And that could be what saves the company.
TNA was Ring of Honor talents during its first 5 years.
That's very true.
And it was only they brought in it's either them or us sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You saw people come, people go.
Yeah, exactly.
And the confusing thing about that trophy is the right people went and the right people didn't go.
It's literally like ECW.
Yeah. Bloody confusing.
Yeah.
Didn't always good, yeah. I wouldn't too much confusing.
But yeah, it's going to benefit both companies in the long run, and it's going to benefit the wrestling fans that get to watch more wrestling now.
Yeah, it's... The only fear that I do have is TNA is going to react wrong to this.
Yeah.
And it's going to have the not desired effect. That's the issue. I'm just worried.
I mean, Ring of Honor's moving in the right direction. They're doing pay-per-views.
Hmm.
They have a regular television deal now, and the thing that I want to talk about is they've got action figures coming out soon too.
Hmm.
I honestly think that the only thing missing from like the ECW like brand that Ring of Honor does not have yet out of all of this is a video game. That's all they don't have is a video game. They have everything else. Everything falls into place except they don't have a video game.
I don't know if a Ring of Honor video game would be that good though.
It would be if you went through the entire history of the company. I don't know how you get the rights for that, but that would be cool.
It would be a bit complicated. Plus, you know, the last time we had a non WWE wrestling game was that little known favourite. Oh,
Well, there's the TNA Impact game, and then there's the AAA Lucha game, and which really wasn't very Lucha at all.
mhm.
Um, I think honestly that they're going in the right direction. They're doing great business. They're back to the kind. I don't know if they're necessarily back to the business they had in their heyday, but they're getting there. If they're not yet.
Slower than I think you're trying to make out it is, but I'd say gradually, yeah.
And I love the fact that if you look at the prototypes for the new figures, which are being done by Figures Toy Company, which did the ECW figures, did another connection right there, and they also did a really bad season of WCW figures that most people didn't like those ones. It's the Briscoes, it's Adam Cole, and wrestling fans get their first Kevin Steen figure. So they're beating WWE to the point when it comes to Kevin Steen first Steen figure on the market. And I think that's a brilliant marketing move for Ring of Honor to do that. Kind of like when everything happened with Punk, when TNA decided they wanted to issue the best of CM Punk in TNA, even though most of that stuff was from Nashville and it wasn't very good, but it was still there, and that was good marketing. And that's exactly what this is. It's great marketing on Ring of Honor's part to introduce someone who the WWE fans actually know now as one of their throwback stars. Like, we'll get an El Generico figure. We'll get a Jay Lethal figure because he's still very prominent in the company. But yeah, I mean, I think this is actually a great decision. I don't know how well they're going to do business-wise, but I think it'd be something that I can honestly see people buying on, like, WrestlingFigs.com and Ringside Collectibles, stuff like that. I don't know how well it would do in toy stores, but I know that it would do really well on, like, mail order sites and at the shows. What do you think about the figures, Ashley? Ashley. We may be having a little technical issues with Ashley right now. But yeah, I do remember watching Ring of Honor back when it first started. It's kind of like watching the UFC when it first started and everything. Names like Dan Severn and Hoist Gracie and Oleg Taktarov and Ken Shamrock. Not major names to people that were watching now, but people that obviously started out in UFC, something that I really enjoyed. And Ring of Honor is the same way. I mean, my favorite wrestler is Christopher Daniels and always has been. So, I mean, I was able to watch the rise of his career, and then when he got signed by TNA, I was able to watch him on a weekly basis, and it was nice, obviously. And a lot of the great Ring of Honor talents have now gone on to bigger and better things, and Ring of Honor is not really a feeding ground, per se, but it is definitely a place to look for future stars that are going to make it in television. Ashley? Yeah, like I said, we're having some issues with Ashley. My apologies for that. He's still here. He's just not joining us right now. Ashley, 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 are you awake? We're talking to the fact that before we went on air is the fact that Ashley has been awake for a long, long time. So it may be possible that he's done. So I guess I'm gonna carry this. So that's what we're gonna do here. Yeah, I think the action figures are a great deal. I think they're going to bode really well for the market at the shows and on the internet. I don't necessarily know how well they're going to do when little Johnny goes up to the Toys R Us toy aisle and they see John Cena or they see Jay Briscoe. Who are they going to pick? I mean, but it is cool to see that the Briscoes are getting their own action figures. I think that's pretty awesome, given the fact that I remember watching the Briscoes in the early days of Ring of Honor, and also when they were working in CZW as well. It always amazes me that they were partially trained by Van Hammer, and that's something that always has blown my mind about the Briscoes. I haven't slept on Adam Cole. I just really don't know enough about him to really talk about him, unfortunately. And when this action figure set actually works, I can see Jay Lethal getting released and probably a Dalton Castle. Can you imagine all the awesome things that are going to come with a Dalton Castle action figure? I think that's going to be pretty cool. Throwback series, obviously, makes perfect sense given the fact that Steen's the first one. I think El Generico is probably the second. AJ Styles, the other members of the Bullet Club, the other members of the Kingdom, maybe a Maria figure potentially down the line. I mean, there's a lot of different options you can go with. Ashley. 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 See, this is the thing that AJ always jumps me on when we're filming videos and everything. I think Ashley may have passed out because you can hear breathing. He's still there. You can't. He's not registering anything I'm saying because maybe subconsciously he possibly is, but not here. So we may have to end this call, end the Popcast on that. But by and large, Ring of Honor coming to Destination America, it was a big surprise, a big shock to everyone, especially to TNA. And I really think that having both companies back to back is going to be beneficial for both of them in the long run. I think that Ring of Honor will help TNA, and I think, in essence, TNA will help Ring of Honor in the long run, too. Because with TNA, obviously, you have names that are now in Ring of Honor that TNA faithful fans know and love, and they wonder what happened to them. Like the WWE fans that wonder where the WWE guys that go to TNA for years, and they come back and they're like, "Hey, where have you been?" It's like, "Oh, I was wrestling on Impact." And what's Impact? I mean, it's something like that. But still, I really think that we've got a beneficial agreement for both companies, and I think it's going to work out in the long run. And I do think it's going to get Ring of Honor even closer to being what a lot of their fans definitely want them to be, and that is a real contender for that big two spot, like maybe overtaking TNA one day. I don't know if they will or not. It only time will tell at this point. But yeah, Ring of Honor's got a great product, and I will try to cover Ring of Honor on Pop. I can't guarantee it yet, but I will say that this news broke today, and Ashley messaged me and said, "Owen, let's talk Ring of Honor." I was like, all right, we can do that. And I was like, I worked today, had no Wi-Fi, told you the story at the beginning of the podcast, and sure enough, we've made it work. So yes, we've made this podcast work as best as we could, even though I'm pretty sure Ashley is now passed out. Let me try one more time. Ashley. 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 Okay, so I'm probably gonna call this then. For those of you that are joining us tonight, the 2 viewers we have, thank you very much. Granted, this was a very, very last minute decision to do this podcast tonight. The archive, if you'd like to listen, will be up on this morning. Obviously, it'll be up because it is now officially Thursday, so it'll be up along with a brand new edition of Sip and Snack, which is coming later. AJ's movie reviews on Friday will be Aloha, San Andreas, and The Human Centipede 3. So yes, that's going to be talked about. Gaming with Ash returns on Saturday on its regular day and time. Sunday, brand new versus Your Cryptic Comment is Haunting. Think about it, you'll figure out what it is. Sunday's also Elimination Chamber, and Ashley, myself, along with Aaron, Mr. Entertainment, are going to be joining you at 11 p.m. for a Elimination Chamber podcast. On Monday, I'm going to talk NXT, and Monday night, of course, we'll bring you the WWE Raw Popcast. Now, given the fact that we don't know when the Stone Cold podcast with Paul Heyman on the network is actually going to be over, keep tuned in. I would say probably around 11:45, midnight, maybe 11:30 or midnight, one of the two. Keep tuned in onto my Twitter and Mr. Entertainment's Twitter, and we will keep you abreast on the situation. And that archive, of course, will be up as well the next day. It'll be available on Tuesday. We will be talking NXT and Impact. Obviously, it may end up being Ring of Honor and Impact this time, because Ring of Honor is going to be debuting 8 p.m. on Destination America, June 3rd, as a lead-in to TNA at 9, and that's going to be the regular day and time for Impact, and I think I'm just going to be a week behind on both, so I guess that's probably how it's going to work. I will be joining James, Tristan, and Alex for another Halloween Horror Nights podcast on that day, and that's going to be coming your way. We also have a brand new Sip and Snack the day after. AJ's movie reviews will be Insidious Chapter 3, Entourage, and Spy. Yeah, I actually mentioned the name this time. And we're also going to be doing Gaming with Ash on Saturday, Versus on Sunday. More Horror Nights information once I get it. And it sounds like Universal's going to announce Volcano Bay soon. And once they do, we're going to be doing a Universal Orlando podcast to talk all about it, not just piggyback on a Horror Nights podcast like we did last time. So that being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Ashley, you may or may not hear me. Maybe through REM you will possibly hear me, but thank you for deciding to do this podcast tonight. I had a great time in the short time that we joined you guys tonight. And we will join you, loyal wrestling fans, on Sunday for Elimination Chamber at 11 p.m. And as for now, Ashley, any parting words? And that's how you done the party, folks. That officially proves it. So that being said, thank you guys and girls out there for watching so late at night and whenever you watch the archive. And until Sunday, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.